It's been 2 years in the making, but we have finally arrived, and we are starting the process of crowning an NCAA gymnastics champion. Welcome to the NCAA Regionals here at Stegman Coliseum on the campus of the University of Georgia. So glad to be along with you with 9-time NCAA champion, former Florida Gator, Bridget Sloan. I'm Alex Perlman. Well, this is an absolutely loaded competition, especially what we get to see here in Athens. You can see for the first time every single regional today and tomorrow on the ESPN app. But the #1 Gators are here as well, Bridget, a team you know well.
I do know them well, and I love it. They have been unstoppable all season long. They just bring it every single meet, and the talent, I mean, they are stacked from freshman, sophomore, junior, all the way to the senior class. Alyssa Bauman taking on that leadership role, so strong this whole season. This is what they've been waiting for. This is it.
They are trying to erase the memories of 2019 when they certainly had a down year, as is really accustomed to them. Top seed in the NCAA championship coming into this one. They haven't relinquished that. That will be in the second round coming up at 7 p.m. Eastern time right here on the ESPN app, along with Illinois, NC State, and Central Michigan. But this is what we're focusing on now. Number 8 and number 9 are here, Minnesota and Denver. These are two teams that are poised for an upset and certainly looking to make their mark in the afternoon session.
It's going to be a good one, and I know I'm excited and you're excited, so let's get this going.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it. Well, taking a look now at, that's your quad box right here, is what we affectionately like to call it here at ESPN. So you will see every single routine from every single regional that's never been done before. Oregon State will start on vault, Denver on bars, Minnesota on beam, Georgia on floor. So, Bridget, we take a look at Denver and Minnesota. Those are obviously the teams that you would circle on paper. Denver winning the Big 12 championship for the first time ever. Minnesota, a team that is coming off of the Big 10 championship. There's no doubt about it. These are some athletes that can make some noise.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, these teams have put in the work. They are so excited when we talk to all the head coaches. You could tell, you could almost feel it. Just talking via Zoom, they were so excited because there's been so much unknowing this whole season. Will we compete next week? Will there even be a postseason? So everyone is just so incredibly excited. And I'm going to say it right now, anything can happen in this sport, so you never know who is going to be on top tonight.
All right, we are getting set here. This is going to be a lot of fun because all 4 events, Bridget, going on at the exact same time. It's going to be a little chaotic, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's Kayla Bird to start things off for Oregon State on vault.
And if you're looking at floor, Alyssa Perez Lagones, she has been lights out for this Georgia team. All of these leadoff positions are so important. I mean, they are setting the tone for each event. They're setting the tone for their team. They have to be dynamic. They need to be solid and kind of a guaranteed hit.
Now, there's no doubt about it. Georgia is, you would say, this year a dark horse more than anything else. I mean, coming in with an NQS of 196.781. They are not seeded. This is usually a team that we know is fighting for a national championship, but it's been so up and down. And talking with head coach Courtney Kupets-Carter, she's looking to obviously get over the disappointment of not being able to compete in SECs because of COVID protocols, and they are very excited to be right back here at Stegman Coliseum hosting the NCAA Regionals.
Absolutely. And Minnesota starting on beam. This is a really great position for them. I would say beam is one of their best events. They are extremely solid. Everyone gets up there, knows what their job is. They're confident in all of their skills. This is where Minnesota can really kind of broaden that gap and get into the groove of things as they're transitioning into each event.
Minnesota just winning their first Big Ten tournament title since 2006. It was their 6th overall, but they snapped Michigan's 6-year streak in the process. Head coach Jenny Hansen was telling us earlier this week, we don't want this to just be something to achieve and then say, okay, well, we did it. We beat Michigan. That's great. They want to, of course, move on to NCAA national semifinals and championships and be a team like Michigan that could run off 6 straight in their own conference.
Absolutely. She is so confident in her athletes, and I think it is so amazing for them. And if you are watching vault, that is a once-in-a-lifetime vault there. That is a Yurchenko full onto the horse. She did a tuck off, very difficult. If you weren't ready for it, it can almost be a little scary if you're not paying attention, but she does it so well. And up on beam, Lexi Montgomery for Minnesota. She is so poised on this event. Balance beam is only 4 inches wide. Anything can happen in gymnastics, but especially on balance beam. She brings confidence, just grace and beauty in all of her skills, and slight balance check there on her switch half. Just didn't get her feet in the right position. But finishes with a nice 1.5 stuck dismount.
I was going to say, pretty good there on the dismount there for Lexi Montgomery, and I think you mentioned it, Bridget, but this is where the Golden Gophers can really set a high mark. Beam is their best event. 49.463 NQS coming in, and I mean, when you look at a team like Georgia that could make a run, Denver and Minnesota are the favorites, but Oregon State could put up a huge score too, because aside from bars, this is a team that's right around 10th to 18th in the country in every other event.
All the teams here today just need to focus on their job, focus on staying in their bubble. You know, with all events going on at one time, it can get very easy to wander, let your eyes wander. It's kind of like you're a racehorse. You put your blinders on and you do your job. And these teams are experienced. They've all been in this position. And wow, we are seeing some big gymnastics this afternoon.
Bottom right, Michaela McGee, the junior from League City, Texas for Georgia, trying to follow up Alyssa Perez-Lugones' 9.825. Oh, and did she just stay in? Oh my goodness, what balance there. That was real close.
That is good air awareness.
She's obviously going to be disappointed.
The disappointment, but the fight is so important. You want to see these athletes fight for every 10th to stay in bounds. Now, the judges will be taking off for the steps, and I think she was right on the line. But that fight, you can't teach that.
Jessica Hutchinson now for Oregon State on vault. Just getting ready to go, and for beam, this is our first look at Anna Loper. A tremendous athlete. Second place in the all-around at Big Tens with a 39.575. I mean, she's going to be someone to watch for 4 events, along with her teammate, Lexi Rambler, who we'll be talking about ad nauseum throughout the weekend.
Absolutely. And on vault, that was another Yurchenko full onto the horse. Pike off. Really bringing unique skills. Vault is one of those events. You're going to see a lot of Yurchenko fulls, a lot of Yurchenko 1.5s, but Oregon State is bringing a little bit of variety, keeping it interesting.
Bars right now, Jessica Hutchinson, you can see in the top right. That's a great routine, though, for Loper. Minnesota's got to love that to start things off.
Little close to that high bar, pulled in on that dismount. You saw she landed really on the edge of the mat, but had good control, got it back. Looks like should be a good score for.
Are getting checked out though on the top right after
that
bars
mat,
you just saw.
She landed a little kind of wonky on that mat, and one of those things, got to have strong ankles, because I can tell you from experience, you sometimes think you're right on the mat, and then you land and say, oops.
All right, something we'll definitely have to watch out for. Another great vault right there for Oregon State.
One thing Oregon State has really been focusing on, and when we talked to them, it was all about the detail. They know and they are very aware of what their ranking is, but the skill that they can bring and the details that they can bring is really going to set them apart. The landings, if you've watched, every single landing has been so controlled, trying not to give away any deduction.
Well, you see for Minnesota, 9.85, 9.725 right now on beam. They would hope to throw out Montgomery's last routine if possible. For Georgia, it was a 9.6 for Michaela McGee. She didn't step out, but of course did have that huge deduction there, wobbling so much. And now it's Sterling Austin, the senior who Coach Courtney Kupets-Carter was telling us has just made so many strides this year, and it's been one of those anchors in a year that has been so unpredictable and so difficult for all of the athletes with the pandemic. Wow, look at that amplitude.
She brings the height, she brings the energy. She has been crucial for this Georgia team, and I know Courtney Kupets-Carter loves to see her athletes grow throughout the whole season, and Sterling is no exception. She has really come a long way with her confidence, her skill, just everything. And that was a stuck vault.
Yeah, you see that for Lacey Dagan? Goodness.
Man, oh man, Oregon State is not playing around. That is a 10-0 start value. Beautiful Yurchenko 1.5. She had great body position, and that air awareness was right on point and got that stuck landing.
That is Oregon State's best event. They're 10th in the country right now on vault, but trying to follow up a couple of 9.775s, then a 9.75. Sydney Gonzalez was able to post a 9.825 just before Dagan, and we'll have to see how that score comes in, but that could be a huge, huge help once again for Oregon State, who certainly faces an uphill climb with their bars lineup being decimated by injuries this season.
You definitely have to give Oregon State some props, because they are working with everything they have. And that is so important. I mean, they have been battling injuries all season long, but they have just continued to fight and continued to push forward. And here they are today.
Yeah, Tanya Chaplin was telling us, head coach of Oregon State, that her Beavers have lost 6 athletes throughout the year on the bar lineup alone. Can you imagine that? And there's the finish on vault on the upper left for Maddie Dagan as our whirlwind coverage continues. A little bit of a step forward there, so we'll have to see what the judges will take off there in the final event, final gymnast there on vault for Oregon State.
And I have to say, if you're watching Uneven Bars, it's a treat to watch Lindsey Brown. Not only is she amazing on all 4 apparatuses, but she is just an amazing person. I actually met her a couple years ago and was blown away by just the genuine. She is a true competitor on the floor, but she loves gymnastics.
And had a 10 on bars to close out the Big 12 championships and put the seal on a win over Oklahoma. Slight hop there on the dismount, but Brown will take it, and so will Denver.
Absolutely. She flies on uneven bars, and her technique really sets her apart on this team, and she is a true competitor and such a leader for every single one of her teammates.
So this 9.65 for Emily Glynn is going to have to hold after Mia Sundberg's disappointing 9.35, and no doubt they are hoping that they can get a score there that's something that they want for sure for Lindsey Brown with that last routine for head coach Melissa Kutcher-Reinhardt in her 23rd year. Denver has just been a program that has been building and building, making that, you would say, surprising run to finishing 4th at Nationals in 2019.
I think I don't want to say surprising, but they definitely came and conquered. And, you know, when you put in the work during regular season, it pays off. I mean, gymnastics is one of those sports when, yeah, you put in the work, it will pay off. And Denver definitely has been feeding off that the last couple years, doing a great job with that program.
And so now we are just down to beam and floor with vault and bars, as will happen. They go quicker than beam and floor, so we'll be down, and once each event ends, we'll close the boxes a little bit, and then we'll be left with one, most likely floor by the end of this thing. But Minnesota and Georgia finishing out their rotations number one at this point. Maddie Dagan for Oregon State on vault with a 9.95, and right now that is the high mark, and that is also a career high on vault for Dagan.
That is a huge score. Oregon State is really just going to feed off this momentum and just keep that ball rolling.
So we see Roberts with a 9.85 following Sterling Austin's 9.825. Rachel Bauman finishing up her floor exercise for Georgia.
And Rachel is very new to the all-around scene for Georgia. Head coach Courtney Capets-Carter even said she is a workhorse. She wants to get better every single day. Whether it is just by that 1%, she still works her tail off in the gym and just brings it when she's competing.
We'll see Rachel's sister Alyssa coming up in the evening session with the #1 Gators. Alyssa is actually one of three finalists for the AAI award that we will see in this regional alone. We have half of them, Bridget, which is an absolute treat. Of course, if you're not familiar, the AAI award, basically the Heisman Trophy given to the top senior in women's gymnastics every year.
And over on balance beam, we have to say it, Lexi Ramler with Minnesota. She is a rock on this event. She just moves and glides on the beam. I mean, her poise is just perfection.
Big Ten Gymnast of the Year for the 3rd straight season. Not easy to do.
Not easy, but if anyone can do it, Lexi Ramler can.
If she can nail this dismount.
Side aerial, back pull. That is a stuck landing. That is going to be a big score for Lexi. And again, Minnesota just bringing the heat today on balance beam. This is their event. I mean, they are incredible on this event. So confident in all of their skills. Really, really great job.
And Bridget, they're going to drop Lexi Montgomery's 9.725, which means the lowest score that they're going to count right here is going to be Tiara Salas's 9.825. This could be a huge rotation with what Ramler was just able to do in the anchor spot.
Absolutely. And again, I know we mentioned it, but this is where Minnesota can really step far ahead and get that good score on balance beam. And really all 4 events for them are great, but balance beam is where they really shine. And you just saw, I mean, only a 9.825 as the lowest score so far. And Lexi Ramler is going to put up a big score with that beautiful routine.
So Georgia gets to make its final mark right now, coming up on floor with the anchor, Soraya Hawthorne.
And this is where Soraya can really just get in the groove of things. It is just her and the floor right now. She's at home in her home arena. Very nice high double pike, great control on the landing.
12th time that Georgia's hosted a regional in Athens since 1985. You don't have to go very far back to find out the one before this. It was the last NCAA tournament in 2019.
Very nice front layout, front 1.5 into a split jump. And this is where she really has a lot of fun. I mean, floor is the event. You can have a blast out there. And she is definitely having fun.
And Lexi Ramler throwing down a 9.95 to start off her afternoon for Minnesota. And, well, it's going to be between her and Lindsey Brown, you would imagine, for the all-around in this event, but or rather on this day. But tomorrow's really what counts. We can't wait to see what happens in the regional final. Big finish there for Hawthorne.
Wow. Everyone is putting up some big scores, and this is what regionals is all about. I mean, this is one of the most exciting days because you have got great competition, and it is just so quick, and everybody is just trying to get those sticks, do those big skills. It's going to come down to the last routine, and I'm pretty excited about it.
I think it is for all three sessions, you could even say. I mean, it really, you don't get to say that very often when you talk about a regional. Sometimes it's easy for the seeded teams to waltz into the regional final, and then it's really a dogfight. But, Bridget, we could definitely see that today in both of our sessions.
Absolutely, which just is so exciting.
Well, we do have the scores in for Minnesota. A huge 49-3-5 to start things off on being their best event. Oregon State not far behind, though. That is a team you have to watch, though Bars has really been the bugaboo with a 49-175. For Denver, right now we're still waiting on the final scores, and Georgia the exact same. This is Isabel Goico from Texas Women's. So this is the only individual on floor, and of course you get the opportunity, which is great. If your team doesn't qualify, Bridget, you still get the opportunity, if you have been successful enough throughout the season, to have a chance at regionals as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's so important, and that can be really tough. You're always used to competing with your teammates surrounding you, and then when we get into postseason and you're competing as an individual, it can be really hard. But it also can be so incredible for your confidence, for just your well-being, honestly, just comes out when you're there by yourself, because you really got to dig deep. You got to dig deep. You're not in your home crowd. You're not with your home team, but you are out there doing a sport that you love.
You just saw flashing up Lindsey Brown 9-9 on Bars, so a big score to start, but you would say advantage right now to Ramler in that competition with the 9.95 to start. And Soraya Hawthorne posting a 9.9 on floor, so that comes in for Georgia, and that's a great start for the Gym Dogs with a 49.275, and Bridget, floor is not even their strongest event.
No, it is not, and it is just gonna come down to it. You know, these teams have just been so excited about getting to this postseason moment. So now that they are here, they are not going to leave anything. They are putting it all out on the floor in a great performance on floor exercise.
There for Isabel Goico of Texas Women. She can certainly be proud of that. And you get one shot at it. It's not like you get every single event. You're not in the all-around, and we will just have to see what the score comes in for Goico and if she is able to advance. Only 2 teams are coming out of this session, the night session, the same. 4 teams advancing to the regional final tomorrow, and then the top 2 will get to the semis coming up in a few weeks in Fort Worth. There's so much still to be decided, and we are excited to be along with you with rotation number 1 in the books here in Athens. So we will step aside and get reset, and also get you set when we come back on everything that has gone on in rotation number 1. Here from Athens, Alex Perlman, Bridget Sloan with you all day long here as the NCAA regionals are underway. We will answer the question, is Lexi Ramler the best Minnesota gymnast ever? Come on back. Back in Athens, where we have a treat. We get to see some of the best gymnasts in the entire country, and one of those is certainly Minnesota's Lexi Ramler, now a senior out of St. Michael, Minnesota. goodness, as she had a career. NCAA silver medalist on all-around and bars in 2019, a four-time All-American, and she started out with a bang. Bridget Sloan, a 9.95 on beam for the Golden Gophers.
She has done amazing this entire season.
Yeah, she has just been absolutely incredible. Ramler sticking vault after vault as perfect 10s on that and beam in her career. We saw just how good she is on beam, and it's just no surprise to see her at this point, senior year. She could have another year under her belt. They are eligible. We talked with head coach Jenny Hansen about that. She played it very close to the vest, though, Bridget, and we would love to see Lexi, though, at some point coming back.
Absolutely. She's just a rock for Minnesota. I mean, her teammates can lean to her. She has so much trust and confidence in herself, and it shows when she's competing. I mean, I don't want to say it, but she almost competes like she is an international elite. Like, it's crazy. I mean, look at this record that she has just this season. 2 perfect 10s, vault and balance beam, All-American and all-around vault bars and beam, and her rankings just speak for themselves.
And we will see her coming up on floor as Minnesota shifts there. They had a great start right now with a 49.35 to begin things on beam, and there is no doubt that is a gymnast to watch. We will see if she can capture the regional all-around championship, which will be tomorrow night. She'll be definitely in a fight with Lindsay Brown of Denver, but those two are ones to watch. And Minnesota just in general, I mean, it's not surprising, Bridget, to see her have such a great senior season, but to see her teammates stepping up and coming in as the number 8 team in the country with a 197.431 NQS. Those are major, major numbers.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, just watching her, you see her teammates just kind of, they feed off of her energy. I mean, you see it on the competition floor, and when we saw Minnesota early in season, the same thing. I mean, they look to Lexi when in doubt, when they need a little motivation. I mean, she really is the total package.
And right now it is a great start for Minnesota. As you can see, Oregon State had a great beginning as well on vault. Maddie Dagan with a career-high 9.95, and that ended up giving them a very good score to start things out with a 49.175 as they shift to bars. Now here's where we need to watch the Beavers, because we've talked about it. It has been so difficult for them with 6 different injuries alone on this event. They only come in tied for 48th in the country. And, you know, when we talked with head coach Tanya Chaplin, Bridget, she said if we can just get through it, there's no doubt they have the firepower in the other events to advance to the regional final. But it really does all hinge on bars for them, doesn't it?
It does, but one thing that we need to keep in mind, they know where their strengths are. And they know where they can get a little bit better and improve. They know right now bars is their weakest event. Yes, the scores, you'll see that they're really just trying to get as minimal of deduction as possible. But the one thing you have to be impressed by Oregon State, though, is they keep pushing. They keep striving to get better, and the coaching staff alone has really stepped it up. And these athletes are feeding off of that energy. And you see it in the competitions, and you see each athlete just get a little bit brighter. After each routine, you see that smile get a little bit bigger. So it's all coming together as it should.
And isn't just that kind of mentality you have to take in a year when COVID has wreaked havoc on everyone's life, especially these gymnasts? If you give in, you have absolutely no shot. So the fight that we have seen from all of these gymnasts, and Bridget, you know how tough it is to be a collegiate gymnast just as is, in a perfect world. And then you throw all of this in. I mean, how do you think you would have handled all of this?
You know, that's a great question, and I am not sure. I mean, it would be really tough. You really have to dig deep, and these athletes are digging deep. I mean, they're so excited to be there. And I think, you know, the silver lining, you really appreciate the love that you have for the sport. When it's taken away from you, it really can hit different, and it hits harder. And these athletes just are so grateful for every single competition.
So we are getting set for rotation number 2 coming up. Georgia has already begun things on vault with a 9-8. And we are getting set once again here to get action back underway as Minnesota, we talked about, switching to floor. Emily Cook to begin things. Lexi Ramler, who we just mentioned, of course, will go number 4 out of 6.
And you will see 6 athletes compete on each event, but they will only count 5 scores. So they will have the ability to drop a score, which is very important. You never know what can happen. So having that 6 athletes up, 5 scores count. There's a lot of gymnastics going on.
Here's Michaela McGee to begin things now on vault. Upper left for Georgia. Oh!
And that is not what they wanted to see. That's a 10-0 start value. That was a Yurchenko 1.5 and just didn't have the rotation that she needed. Her feet were out in front of her, and that ultimately led to her sitting it down.
And Lindsey Brown began things on beam with a 9-9 for Denver, who definitely disappointed with their first rotation score, coming in just 48.975. We'll have to see if they can better that now going over to the beam.
Lindsay starting with a 9.9 is pretty good. These athletes are just going to build off of that score, and Lindsay is she's just so solid when she competes, and that's what you need in your leadoff.
Getting set for Abby Nyland, bottom right of your quad box right now here for floor Minnesota, going right now with Emily Cook beginning things already. And they're a nice routine as Denver switches to beam for Abby Thompson.
We are gearing up on vault in the top left. This is Abby Ward, and she is going to do a Souk layout full. Only one of the competition tonight doing that. And she is coming after a fall from Michaela McGee. And it's a round off on, full twist off. Just lack of control there on that landing. Ended up taking a hop and a step. Those are the deductions that are really going to add up here as the rotations continue.
We shift our attention back to beam. Alexandria Ruiz now for Denver. Emily Cook for Minnesota began things with a 9-8. Abby Nyland finishing off her floor routine now for Minnesota.
Nice controlled double tuck. So far, so good.
Let's look at bars right now for Maddie Dagan, who had a career-high 9.95 on vault for Oregon State.
A blindfold double tuck, just the slightest hop on the dismount. You know, they might not have the big scores. Oregon State brings good, clean routines, and they're consistent. I mean, yes, they're not getting the 9.95s and the 9.975s, but they're very consistent throughout, and consistency is key.
Megan Roberts now here for Georgia on vault. Wow.
And that is a stuck 1.5. That is a 10-0 start value.
Whoa.
Round off back handspring, 1.5 twist. No, I did not see any mishaps in that vault. She had great height, great distance, kept that body position fully laid out.
Courtney has said her mindset completely changed this year. She's not holding on to as much stress. That vault was free and easy, was it not?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what you can do and what you're capable of when you just kind of let your body take over, when you don't think as much.
I don't know, Bridget, where you take off on that vault.
The judges normally see things a lot differently than me. I mean, that was a great vault.
Let's put that caveat out there, right?
Yeah, that was a great vault. She had great height, great distance from the vault. I mean, great amplitude just all around. I mean, that's a 10-0 start value. And for Georgia, that is huge on this event.
Already for Georgia, they could drop a 9.275, which Michaela McGee, remember when she sat down, they're trying to get rid of that. Right now, Abby Ward with that 9.75 would be the next counted score. We know Megan Roberts is going to count. The only question is how high is it going to be? And now Soraya Hawthorne to finish it out for the Gym Dogs in their home arena.
And this is another Yurchenko 1.5. A little bit of lack of control. You saw her take that hop forward, but great body position. And that's another 10-0 start value. But Georgia really struggled on vault in the very beginning of season. They weren't sure if they were going to get these 10-0 start values, and now they have 4 in their lineup.
So Georgia is done now here for vault. And bars Christina Peterson for Oregon State started things off with a 9.65. Jessica Hutchinson on beam now for Denver, following up Alexandria Ruiz, already a 9.9 and a 9.875 coming for the Pioneers, the Big 12 champions for the first time in school history.
And she has beautiful lines on balance beam. Almost has a European look to her, just from her toe point to her arm extensions. She flows throughout the entire routine. She never stops moving. Nice front aerial into a wolf jump. Controlled, required full turn there, and just the dismount. Very nice routine. I mean, I know we said it already, but it is going to come down to the final routine. These athletes are really, really bringing it today, which has me
I think
so
you're right.
excited.
And Lexi Ramler on floor now for Minnesota in the 4 spot, trying to follow up a 9.875. This has been an extremely strong first half of the second rotation here for Minnesota. Believe it or not, this is their air quotes worst event. They're tied for 10th in the country on floor. But when you go 6th on vault, 7th on bars, 5th on beam, your worst event is 10th. You're doing pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, Lexi just, I know it's like we can't stop talking about her, but she's just done incredible things for this team and the whole Minnesota team right now. They're Big Ten champions, and what I love is that they're not finished yet. That's not the end for them. Yeah, that's great, and they put that in their back pocket, but they want to get to those NCAA 4 on the floor and really vie for that championship.
Ramler to finish out her floor routine. In usual style that you would expect from Miss Ramler, tied for 2nd in the country in the all-around with Denver's Lindsey Brown. And this has been a strong, strong start for the senior.
And Oregon State has really been doing amazing on bars. They fly high on their dismounts. They keep it cool, calm, and collected. Again, this is an event they've really struggled with all season long due to injuries, but the fight is there, and they have not given up.
On beam now for Denver, Isabel Mabanta. Denver had a disappointing beginning. Their first rotation, not exactly what they were looking for by any means, so we will see if they're able to recover. They didn't even get 49 on their first rotation.
And that is a 5/10 deduction falling off of the apparatus. After a fall on any event, it is tough to get back up. But after a fall on balance beam, you got to really dig deep, get your mind right. You have 45 seconds after the fall to get back up and finish that routine as strong as possible. A little low on that landing. Seemed like she wasn't quite ready for it. That aerial back full, that is going to be a score that they are going to want to drop.
And maybe they will be able to with just one gymnast left. The anchor Alexis Vasquez on beam for Denver.
And on floor right now, she is a gem to watch on this event. She has really she kind of bought in. She's fully bought into the program and just to this NCAA gymnastics scene.
Houghton, just a freshman, tied for 4th in the country on floor. She had a perfect 10 against Nebraska. Some gymnasts just bring it on floor, don't they, Bridget? You were definitely one of them.
They definitely bring it, but they have fun. I mean, gymnastics, it's such a tough sport, but it really can be so fun. And it's so amazing to see these athletes truly having the time of their life. Stuck, double tuck. That is a huge score for Maya Houghton. Again, just a freshman and already making her mark with this Minnesota team.
Georgia as well. I mean, Georgia has been great so far. They dropped the 9.275 from Michaela McGee because Soraya Hawthorne threw down a career high at that 9.9 in the anchor spot. We did talk about this a lot, Bridget, that if Denver or Minnesota, yes, they're the 2-seeded teams in this session, if they falter at all, Georgia could very easily jump right into the picture, and then you could be in a position where, you know, 2 teams that really were favored to get to Fort Worth are going home after day 1.
Absolutely. And I know we mentioned it, but Georgia is not a top-seeded team here today. And normally they have the target on their back, and now they're kind of more of the underdog, and that's a great opportunity for them. I mean, you have to take every single meet as if it is the only meet you're competing, but Georgia can really step ahead here and showcase everything they've been working on.
So Isabel Mabanta with that 5/10 deduction, posting a 9.15, and now Alexis Vasquez to finish things off on beam in the anchor spot for Denver. Anna Loper on the bottom of your screen on floor for Minnesota.
And Anna Loper is another one of those super seniors for this Minnesota team. You will see her later on vault where she is perfection.
She's tied for 3rd in the country on vault, Bridget. 10th on floor, though. So this is definitely a highlight for her of the afternoon and her all-around.
And a 2.5 twist to end things. And over on balance beam, nice routine. Coming after a fall can really rattle you. You're used to your teammates hitting and you're just going with the flow, so that is kind of putting a damper in the lineup, but Alexis really brought it today, hit that beam routine, getting that team right back on track.
Oregon State finishing out its bars routine. Big step forward to finish things off right there for Jenna Domingo, and we'll have to see Kayla Bird with a quite clutch 9.8. And we already saw some big scores from Caitlin Holland and Caitlin Yanish with just the injuries that they've had, a 9.775, 9.75. Those are good scores for what they've been able to do on bars, at least, you know, comparing it throughout both of those career highs, and we'll just have to see how that ends up stacking up with everything that has gone on through now 2 rotations of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Oregon State knew that bars was going to be tough for them, but again, They're pushing through. They had an amazing vault rotation, and they just keep pushing and chugging along. And that's honestly the name of the game sometimes, is just know where you're at, know where you can be, and just keep pushing.
So we're still waiting on the scores for the anchors of floor, beam, and bars. We know the vault score for Georgia with a 98.35 through a couple of rotations. Anna Loper with a 9.95, a new career high. 3 career highs, 1 season high for Minnesota on floor. Wow.
Wow.
Alexis Vasquez
right.
with a 9.8 on beam for Denver, and we're waiting on Jenna Domingo's score as well. The final one now for Oregon State on bars, and then the second rotation will be all done.
And you see Minnesota's really, they've got a good lead right now over Georgia. I don't want to jinx it, but Minnesota's sitting pretty nicely right now and just getting into that second spot. It's anyone's game.
And that's the biggest thing, Bridget. It doesn't matter 1 or 2. You got to be top 2, advance to the regional final, survive and advance, as they say, and
yes.
and then be in the top 2 the next day.
Be in the top 2 today, and then be in the top 2 tomorrow.
Isn't that easy?
Oh, yeah.
So we are waiting on the individual now on bars. Elizabeth Colton out of North Carolina.
Watching her in warm-ups, you are going to see a almost nearly perfect execution.
Beautiful handstand there.
In a nice reverse heck. I love that she turns that over. Little short on that bail. Would love to see her right over the top of the bar. But she is so clean. Not giving anything away on those handstands, and an open double tuck and a stuck dismount. Such a nice job. Again, here as an individual, you don't have your teammates here cheering you on, but that was a great routine.
And so the second rotation comes to a close. The action is really heating up. I mean, this is about as close as you can expect for the afternoon session of day 1. And from that second rotation, we saw Lindsey Brown really shine. She already had a 9.9 to start things off on bars, and now on beam, a tremendous 9.9.
She really did an amazing job, and she is just so nice to watch. She's so aggressive on balance beam, which you don't get to say very often. Balance beam, you think of just being graceful and flexible, but she is so aggressive. And to start things off with a 9.9, I mean, that is an incredible leadoff score.
Brown, who is not only looking to excel here at the regionals, but in her senior season is trying to be the top all-arounder in the country and win gold there. She is right now tied for second with Lexi Ramler, and showing why.
She
Battling
has got
back
big
from a torn
goals.
Achilles. I mean, the storylines are endless. And here is Soraya Hawthorne setting a career high, one of 7 that we saw in the second rotation. 9.9.
Beautiful 10-0 start value right there. Yurchenko 1.5 holds that flatness in her hips, that laid out position the whole time. Just that slight hop at the end.
We will talk more about Lindsey Brown in Denver when we come back here to Athens. There are stories galore. She has overcome so much adversity throughout her young life already. We'll tell you more about that. Right now it is Minnesota in control with a 98.85 through a couple of rotations. Georgia is in the 2 spot at the moment, but Denver and Oregon State not far behind. We are back in Athens in just a moment as the NCAA Gymnastics Regionals rolls on. We have 2 rotations in the books here in Athens. So glad you're with us. Alex Perlman, Bridget Sloan joining you. And there's a look at Lindsey Brown, a very special gymnast that has had to endure so much throughout her young life already. She's already the first member of her family to attend college, growing up in the Kansas City area. She lost her mom 2 years ago. Her dream was to see Lindsey in the Olympics, something that she may still pursue. She came back from a torn Achilles. I mean, how much can you beat down an athlete and have her still excel to this level, Bridget? It really is a remarkable story.
It's just one of those things. You have to look at her and just smile because gymnastics gives her so much joy. I mean, look at all that she's accomplished. You know, first Big 12 championship title, a part of the Denver Pioneers. She has been crucial to this team ever since she came on as a freshman, and she just gets better and better every single year. And that is what's so impressive about her. It's every year she brings it. She wants to be there. She's a leader in the gym, outside of the gym. I mean, she truly is a remarkable individual.
Already a couple of 9.9s for Lindsey Brown, who is chasing all-around glory this season as well. Her team, little bit of work to do right now here, Bridget. We are not surprised at all to see Georgia in the number 2 slot right behind Minnesota, who, by the way, has not counted anything below a 9.825 through 2 rotations. Jenny Hansen's group absolutely bringing it. And Denver sitting there at 98.2 behind Georgia's 98.35, moving to the floor.
And this is where Denver can really, they had their balance beam, which is that make or break event. They're moving to floor exercise. This is where they can really take a deep breath and trust themselves, trust their skill, and really have fun out there.
Getting set for rotation number 3, Minnesota is moving over to vault. This is one of their best events. They're 6th in the country. Not like they need any help with what we have already seen so far in the type of athletics that they have put on. There's no question this has been a great day for them so far. Georgia to bars, Denver to floor, Oregon State to beam, where they're a little stronger certainly than on bars. This is again, like we keep saying, going to come down to the wire, we think. And there's a great start on bars right there for Georgia and Katie Finnegan.
And a nice start on vault for Minnesota. Right now, Minnesota just needs to keep on doing what they're doing. Trust themselves, just kind of keep cool, calm, and collected as they rotate to this 3rd event and then on to the 4th rotation. And you see Georgia in the top right on uneven bars. When we talked to head coach Courtney Carter, she even mentioned bar lineup was a little iffy. She wasn't quite sure because some of the athletes didn't quite get as much practice as they might have wanted. So she is just putting out what she knows best and trusting those athletes. She's got a lot of talent on this team.
Georgia's just kind of throwing out the results at this point. That's what you have to do when you're sitting just 18th in the country. It was their lowest record in decades. I mean, this is a team that 5-peated in the mid-2000s to late 2000s. It's just, you expect them to be, if not number 1, at least top 3. And it just has not gone that way right now because of injuries for Courtney Carter.
No, and injuries are tough. You just kind of have to take them and work through them, but they're doing everything they can.
Emily Shield now on bars for Georgia. Katie Finnegan started things off. We're waiting on her score.
And Emily is so nice on this event. Watching her in warm-ups, she had a little bit of trouble right at the end of this bar routine. You're going to see a double layout here. No trouble today, though. Wow. Nice double layout. Would love to see her open up those hips just a little bit more to really show off and showcase that layout position. And Denver on floor, Rosie pike full in.
Alexandria Ruiz with a 9-8 to start things off on floor. Very good in the leadoff spot.
And top left, Minnesota.
There's Maya.
Maya Hooten, 1.5 twist. Wow. One thing you have to give her credit for, she is so excited after every single routine. I mean, the talent that she has, and I only can see her getting better and better each year.
Yeah, the freshman making the most of this season, even though it's in the middle of a pandemic. Coming off the best meet of her career, where she had 2 9.9s, one on the floor, and also a 9.85, who is, you know, I would imagine going to be an all-around gymnast very, very shortly for Jenny Hansen.
Yeah, Jenny is definitely very happy with this team right now. I think she's almost inspired by them. You know, you think about athletes are inspired by coaches, but a lot of times these coaches are inspired by their athletes.
Well, especially this year, Bridget.
Absolutely. And Georgia on bars right now, really showing off.
Oh,
wow.
Lexi Rambler. Did you just see that?
Yurchenko, 1.5, stuck landing, exclamation point, period. Wow. That is going to be a big score, and Georgia is showing off on bars right now. Emily with a 9.825, Katie 9.825, Megan Roberts just hit her bar routine. I mean, I don't know if these athletes are aware of the standings or the rankings right now, but it is going to be tough in this final rotation.
It really is. I can't wait to see that score for Lexi, though. This being the postseason, it's a little bit different in terms of judging. There are 4 judges instead of 2. Top score, bottom score get dropped. You average the middle 2. So you have to have even more consensus to get a 10. We'll see if we get any of those yet here in the NCAA regionals. And it was a 9.95, so a slight deduction, but she is well on her way to potentially winning the all-around. I mean, Anna Loper is just, Minnesota is on another level. Minnesota is looking like a national championship contender right now.
I would have to agree. We like to call those the famous Anna Loper sticks. She is known for those on vault. I mean, they do their vaults with such ease. Even when they're running down the vault runway. When I ran down the vault runway, it looked like I was running for my life.
Doing a 40-yard dash there.
Absolutely.
It really is. I mean, and Anna Loper, 3rd in the country in vault. It's just showing why this Minnesota team has risen to such great heights, knocking off Michigan for the first time in 7 years as the Big Ten champion. And they have a lot left in the tank. That's clear. They are not playing around in Athens.
I don't think anyone's playing around.
Coming in for Anna Loper on vault, Bridget. Well-deserved,
a very well-deserved 10-0, exactly. Wow. And over on uneven bars, Haley, I mean, Georgia is bringing the heat with these stuck landings.
Well, right now we've got 3 straight 9.825s for Georgia, and that was a good one for Haley DeYoung.
We mentioned Georgia was not a top-seeded team going into these regionals, but they are taking that with stride. I mean, they are taking it with purpose. They're not afraid. They don't look at that as something to be upset about. They're really just out there doing their job, and they're doing an amazing job at that.
It is a comfort level to Courtney Kupets-Carter. Just being at home, not having to worry about travel. You know your arena, you know where you need to go, you know how everything has worked during COVID. There's nothing to find out that's new, and they can just settle in, and we've seen that. And it's not at a point right now yet, Bridget, but Denver's got to start thinking about what's going on here, because they're starting to get in a little trouble, let's say.
They're starting to, but they've still got time.
They do.
They definitely still have time, but this is one of Georgia's. She is beautiful on this event. Victoria win. Ginger in between the bars, a little short on that cast handstand. The judges want to see you right on top of the bar, but a beautiful double layout.
Maddie Quarles with a 9-9 on vault, finishing things out for Minnesota with a season high, listen to this, Bridget, 49.525.
Wow.
Pretty
Wowie.
special.
That is a big score for Minnesota.
They had to count Gianna Gertis's 9.775 on vault, and that was the lowest score. Other than that, nothing below 9.9. On the upper left, get to see it again. Anna Loper's 10.0.
I
It's
mean,
flawless.
textbook perfect. The height, the execution. Now is a time where the judges and I can agree that was a 10.0 vault. Sometimes I think they are. Judges don't, but wow.
There was absolutely nothing to take off, and it didn't happen, which is exactly what we wanted to see.
In the top right, Marissa Oakley for Georgia. This is a big moment for Marissa. She's really battled injuries throughout the entire season, and she is stunning on this event. You're gonna see a little eagle grip, which if your wrist can do it, great. Mine could never do that, but she brings a lot of great skill to this bar routine.
In 2019, when the regionals were right here in Stegman Coliseum, Marissa Oakley threw down a 10 on this event.
Right here, huge release. So far, she's doing a beautiful job showcasing those handstands right on top of the bar. And again, she had a little difficulty with this dismount and warm-ups, but not during the competition. Wow. I think Georgia might know where they're at, and they are not afraid. I mean, these routines, this is hit after hit.
They're going to go 6 for 6 here. We know that much. The only question is what's going to be dropped. Right now, what would be dropped is Victoria wins 9-8. And when you're in that position, it's pretty solid. So we'll have to see what Oakley turns in, especially with the way that Minnesota and Denver is also making some noise in this rotation as well. Their lowest score at the moment is a 9-8. We saw a 9.875 from Rosie Casali. That's a career high, along with Abby Thompson's 9.9.
And it looks like vault and bars are finished, so we just have floor and beam. Lindsey Brown for Denver.
So here we get to see Brown on floor in just a moment. This is exciting because this is the reigning NCAA champion on this event. And Brown has her work cut out for her as well in the all-around because Lexi Ramler has just been 9.95 all day.
Who wants it bad enough? That's what it's going to come down to because both athletes are capable.
Brown, a 10-time All-American. And here we go.
And if you're watching balance beam, Oregon State has been very consistent, but they just haven't been able to get that wow score just yet. We're looking at some 9.75, 9.75. Unfortunately, started things off with a 9.2. So really just trying to build each score and stay on the balance beam. And Lindsey Brown, stuck double layout.
She could do it. A double layout with her eyes closed and just getting out of bed. A lot of gymnasts cannot say the same.
That is a fair statement.
Bridget, how do things change once you get to regionals? Just for you, how did it change?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with you're so used to a dual meet. So it's just you're going and then the other team is going. But when all 4 events are going, I mean, it's just, it can be a lot. But I think regionals is the most fun because of that. You're also going up against teams that you've never seen before, which can be really exciting. And regionals gets you so excited for NCAAs.
And the final pass for Lindsey Brown.
Wow, that is will be a big score. I'm not going to jinx it and throw any scores out there because the judges will definitely disagree with me probably, but an athlete who has dealt with so much in her career is just living every moment to the fullest here today.
So right now on floor, now this is only the 5th gymnast to go, so we may have had a scratch, and if that's the case, Lindsey Brown didn't do worse than a 9.8. And at this point, I mean, just looking at the standings and what Denver would really have to do, they've gone 9.8, 9.7, 9.875. You can see it right there, 9 9s, and now we'll see what Brown puts down as well. I mean, that was a great score. I think we can agree on that with the routine that we just saw.
Oh, absolutely.
So even if they don't get to drop a score, that's not that big a deal for Denver in this event.
They're sitting right where they need to be. And then over on balance beam, this is Maddie Dagan. And this is an athlete who is new to the all-around scene for Oregon State. She has, you know, we talked about how they have been dealing with injuries, and Maddie has really stepped up into a new role as an all-arounder, and she is stunning on this event.
She's competed all around in 8 of 9 meets this year and just never done it routinely. She hadn't needed to, but with the type of injuries that have ravaged the lineup for Tanya Chaplin, it's been a necessity.
And Maddie with her sister Lacey. There's a lot of sisters on these teams, and
you're right.
I know I have a sister. I do not think we would do very well on the same team, but that's okay. She said Maddie and Lacey just do a great job. They're kind of the yin and yang, and Maddie hitting that beam routine right there.
That's a
High
great
fives
finish.
All around. That was an incredible beam routine. Such poise on, you know, that balance beam is only 4 inches wide, and she made it look so easy. And she just looks like she is truly enjoying herself out there.
I think she is too, and definitely just getting to compete this year is enough for most of these gymnasts, but to perform at this kind of level, I mean, we're talking at the bottom 3 for beam for Oregon State, 9.85, 9.825, and then whatever Maddie Dagan had.
I have a feeling Maddie's going to put up a pretty big score. I mean, that was a very, very well executed beam routine.
Here's Elizabeth Colton. We just saw her for North Carolina competing last rotation as well on bars. They're holding up the 9.9s for Maddie Dagan.
Looks like Maddie might have broken into that 9.9 world for Oregon State on balance beam.
Lindsey Brown with a 9.95 to finish things out on floor for Denver. That is a strong rotation. Emily Glynn was scratched, but it doesn't matter. They're counting 5 scores, all 9.8 or better, including Rosie Casali and Abby Thompson's career highs. So with that extremely strong 49.425 on floor for Denver, they have now snuck just a 10th ahead of Georgia on bars, and they'll finish on beam coming up. Elizabeth Colton finishing things out. Beautiful.
Nice handspring layout, step out.
And she gets the opportunity, Bridget, to not only compete one event here at regionals, but we did see her on bars, so it's not that one and done that we saw earlier for Texas women's. Oh.
And that is a 5/10 deduction, putting your hand on the balance beam.
Such a beautiful routine up till then.
Yeah, it just looked like she didn't quite have the rotation she needed on that front aerial, bringing that chest up, getting that height. Nice cat loop into her switch side, showing off that flexibility. And side aerial back full, just a slight hop. Overall, nice routine. Would have loved to seen her really just push off that base leg and get that front aerial to her feet, but finishes really strong.
All right, just like we expected, the race for second is heating up in a big way right now, with Denver and Georgia both right there. Oregon State not totally out of it yet either. Anything can happen with the fourth rotation ahead. But here in the third, we saw some special gymnastics, and it started with Marissa Oakley's bar routine to anchor things off for the home Georgia Gym Dogs.
A senior, so beautiful. She just floats on this event, and this is her event. You know, she's dealt with injuries all season, but this is just a great event for Marissa, for Georgia. Huge dismount. Just a really great routine.
A 9.875 there, and then when Oregon State needed it the most, Maddie Dagan came through.
When in doubt, you call Maddie Dagan to deliver. Nice handspring layout step out there. You saw her ending, her finish. She gets right to her finish so quickly, which is, she doesn't even have room to make mistakes on this event. Gripping the beam with those toes.
So much pressure on the shoulders of Dagan. She is the standout gymnast for the Beavers, and she has shown why. Beautiful dismount.
Ends it with a beautiful stuck landing, and then on a loper right here. Yurchenko 1.5. That is a 10-0 start value, and that was a 10-0 vault right there. Wow. She makes it look like anybody can do that.
And so, 3 rotations in the books. And Minnesota just continuing to extend its lead. It is now at 8/10. And the only question is who is going to get the number 2 spot. Anna Loper really helping Minnesota out, but Georgia with no scores above 9.875. They have dropped down now to a 1/10 of a point behind Denver, 147.625 to 147.575. Who is moving on to the regional final? We will find out with the 4th rotation coming up. And for the first time ever, we are excited to have the national championship coming up on ABC. The semifinals you can catch on April 16th, 1/6 Eastern Time on ESPN2. And we are getting ready for rotation number 4 here in the afternoon session of the Athens Regional. Along with Bridget Sloan, I'm Alex Perlman. And Bridget, this is exactly what we expected. I mean, we knew between Minnesota, Denver, and Georgia, and Oregon State's not out of it, that there would be a tight race for the number 2 spot. You have to get there in order to move on to the regional final.
You have to be in that 1 and 2. And right now, Minnesota has pretty much solidified that number 1 spot. They are headed to uneven bars, which is a great event for them. But that number 2 spot right now, Georgia and Denver, they are neck and neck. I mean, we're talking about the difference of a stuck landing and a step. And Georgia's going to need a little bit of help from Denver if they want to take over. Denver is on vault. This is a great event for them. They've got the power. They've been working on those stuck landings all season long, and I think they know where they're at. I think Denver can see kind of what's coming. I saw a couple of them looking at the scoreboard, and I was like, you guys know where you're at and where you need to be. So it's anyone's game right now for that second place finish.
Well, here is how it sets up. With Georgia on beam, they're tied for 24th in the country. Denver on vault, they're the 18th team in the country with a 49-2 NQS here coming in. And we are off and running there with a vault from Denver to start things off. Rosie Casali will try to get her Pioneers, the Big 12 champions for the first time in 7 years, into the regional final to take on whoever comes out of the evening session.
And in that
that's
bottom
of course,
left,
Florida, Illinois, Central Michigan, and NC State. Sorry, Bridget.
Georgia, balance beam. This is a make or break event for them. I mean, they can be on or they can be off.
Well,
and
they
it's
were
been
on
kind
there
of
to start.
Absolutely. Well, and that's what they need to do. I think both teams know where each one is at, and they both know what's at stake here. Moving on to tomorrow is going to be crucial for both Denver and Georgia. And it's going to come down to who wants it bad, who wants it more.
Still waiting on the scores for Rosie Casali and Michaela McGee as Alexandria Ruiz gets ready on vault on the upper left side of your screen there for Denver. And it was a 9-7 for Casali.
Nice, Yurchenko full. They're not getting those landings. She had a little bit of a pike down. Would love to see those hips stay completely open, but staying consistent and just staying clean and making sure they land on those feet is going to be important for Denver here. And Georgia just needs to remember that they are a top team. They might not be the top seeded team in this regional, but they are still a top team. And balance beam can be a great event for them. And we can't forget, Oregon State is not out of it. I mean, with Georgia on balance beam, Denver on vault, you never know. Oregon State has done really well on floor exercise, and they're going to need a little bit of help from every team if they want to make it to tomorrow's session. But I think for them right now, it's all about building that confidence, prepping them for next season.
Yeah, they're tied for 14th in the country on floor. Emily Shield now for Georgia as Jessica Hutchinson gets ready to go above her on the top left for Denver. Big stick.
Wow. That was a big vault.
I mean, that could be the difference between advancing and your season being over. Very easy.
Correct. Oh,
amazing.
Yeah. And Emily so far is being very calm up on balance beam. She had a slight balance check, recovered very well, worked through it. And just the dismount, a gainer pike, and a big step on that landing. It looked like her leg just gave out as she was taken off. Right now, Georgia needs to be almost perfect.
Lindsey Brown to finish off her day for Denver. The only question for Minnesota is how good's their score going to be? How high over 197 at this point? It has really been impressive for the Golden Gophers, and we are almost definitely going to see them tomorrow night. Brown on vault.
Lindsey Brown, 1.5.
Oh.
Wow.
She's really something, isn't she?
That is a 10-0 start value, stuck landing. You see the excitement, not just from her teammates. I mean, an athlete who has dealt with so much in her career, that is just icing on the cake for her. Wow, amazing job.
So on vault, we've seen a 9.7 and a 9.775. There's no doubt the door is still open here for Georgia. Michaela McGee began with a 9.875, and we're still awaiting Emily's shield score, though she did have that tough dismount.
Okay. And over on balance beam, Victoria Wynn.
Keep in mind, Georgia has to make up a 10th.
And Abby Thompson, last vaulter for Denver. That was a huge Yurchenko full. She actually flared it out, opened up those hips, got the great landing. Is it enough?
Well, the one thing we know here, Bridget, is that it's not like Denver has handed it to them. They did not open the door. So Georgia has to be that good in order to overtake the Pioneers.
And right now, Georgia, they're doing clean routines, but it's the little, see, she lifted that leg up. It's the little balance checks that really add up.
If you're Georgia right now, Bridget, do you know what happened on vault? Are you focusing on that at all?
No, you are focusing on yourself, you are focusing on your team and what you can do. I mean, you can't control what's happening on vault, floor, bars, but you can control what's happening on balance beam. So this is when it's really crucial and important for these athletes to really stay in their bubble. Keep those blinders on, focus on your job, and just keep moving. And Oregon stay on floor.
So Abby Thompson there on vault, because Denver once again, Emily Glynn was scratched from the last rotation. She was taken out of this fourth rotation as well. So that was Denver finishing things up, I believe. Lindsey Brown with a career high 9.975 on that vault. I don't know why it wasn't a 10, but it was pretty close.
Again, these are things we will never know.
No, we'll never know. That's okay. That's okay.
But Oregon State on floor right now, really putting up some big numbers, hitting these routines, doing their job.
Yeah, we've already seen a 9.85, which is a career high for Sydney Gonzalez for Oregon State. Kayla Bird followed it up with a 9.85.
Right now, Oregon, yeah, they're not putting up the massive scores of those 9.975s, but they are really showing the consistency. It might not get them to that next round, but they are going to leave this competition knowing that they put it all out there.
Tiara Salas there for Minnesota, all kinds of amped up after that routine. That's 5th out of 6th for bars for Minnesota. We'll see Lexi Ramler finish out her afternoon coming up. And here is Haley DeYoung for Georgia. Some work to do for the Gym Dogs, still trailing Denver.
Haley is very patient on this event. You're going to see her work through handspring layout, step out, gets right to those finishes. One thing that she does really well, she holds her finishes. Whether she's got a wobble coming or not, you won't know because she holds those landings. And a side aerial back full. Beautiful routine for Haley and for Georgia. Trying to get that energy back up. Trying to bring it back. And in the top
exactly
left,
what she needed to do.
Lexi Rambler on uneven bars.
It's between Lexi and Lindsay. We'll say that a lot for the all-around. And there's your afternoon for the senior.
Wow. Really, really great job for Lexi. Really great job for Minnesota. And this wasn't even a perfect afternoon for them, which is what's crazy. They still have some room there that they can improve on. But I think they know that they've got the talent and got what it takes.
Tiara Salas from Minnesota with a career-high 9.925. That's why she was so excited, which makes a lot of sense. And we'll see the score for Lexi. She has to beat Lindsey Brown's 39.725. I mean, if that's not starting out the competition your senior year, I don't know what is.
And if you're watching Oregon State on floor, there's a lot of emotion. Senior Savannah Force just hit a very beautiful floor routine, but I think they know they might not be able to overtake. They would have to overtake Georgia and Denver to move into tomorrow's session.
So Denver's afternoon is done. They had a 49.15 in rotation number 4 when they were on vault, and a 196.775 right now is the score. Georgia's still got a couple gymnasts to go. Rachel Bauman, Marissa Oakley, so we will just have to wait and see if they are able to put up a good enough score to take them over Denver and advance on their home floor to the regional final here in Athens. Rachel's following up a 9.85 from Haley DeYoung. Right now they are trying desperately to drop Emily Shields' 9.575.
And Rachel is beautiful on this event. The difficulty, side aerial into a layout step out.
Hard to imagine the pressure right now for Rachel Bauman on beam. But this is what gymnasts do, isn't it? The whole sport is pressure.
The whole sport can be very high pressure situations, but you just have to get out there and do your job and not really focus on the pressure. And a nice stuck 1.5. Really nice job. And the final competitor for Georgia, senior Marissa Oakley.
So it all comes down to this.
When we talked to head coach Courtney Capetz-Carter, it was just so refreshing to hear her talk about her athletes and just they've been through so much, but they still come into the gym and live every moment to the fullest. Every practice, they don't take anything for granted, and she really has just mentioned just how impressed she's been.
Georgia needs a 49.225 in this rotation to take down Denver. We're still waiting on Rachel Bauman's score. Oregon State finishing off on the right side of your screen. This is so tense. It really is just incredible. You could have the number 9 team in the country going home after day 1.
Well, and on floor right now, you're about to see probably one of the best double layouts in the NCAA right now. Caitlin She just flies.
Rachel Bauman posted a 9.9. Marissa Oakley needs a 9.9 for Georgia to advance. Here we go.
Ooh, I'm getting nervous.
Getting nervous.
This is what postseason is all about.
A 9.875 would tie here, Bridget. 9.9 would win. Bridget has a look of concern on her face. You're going to have to take it from me, but she does.
It's just balance beam. It's 4 inches wide. Anything can happen on this event.
The longest few seconds of Marissa Oakley's life right here. That step could have done it. That was a big step.
That was a big step, and it was a little bit to the side. Have to see what the judges take off.
It was a pretty excellent routine up until that point, don't you think?
Yes, there were definitely little balance checks here and there, but nothing, nothing major. If a 9.9 will win it, and a 9.875 will tie.
I don't know.
It's in the judges' hands now.
Yeah. It's going to be real close, and everybody knows what's going on inside Stegman Coliseum. Marissa Oakley in her senior year trying to put Georgia into the regional final. Lindsey Brown can barely watch in her senior year. Oh, boy. Everybody just waiting on that final score. Here's Elizabeth Galton again, who has competed on everything but vault as an individual for North Carolina here in Athens. Tom Petty was right. The waiting is the hardest part, and especially when you're talking about a gymnastics score that decides the season, basically.
Yeah, I wanted to say she probably didn't know what was going on, but you can definitely tell she knows what was at stake and what.
Yeah.
Looks like everyone is sweating.
A 9.85. Georgia barely misses it, and
wow.
Denver will move on along with Minnesota to the regional final. Just barely.
Wow. We said it was going to come down to the final dismount. It's those little tenths that really add up, and wow.
What a meet. 25 hundredths separating Denver and Georgia. This is what we expected, though, Bridget. I mean, this played out to a T.
I knew it was going to be really close. I mean, you're looking at, again, Georgia was not a top-seeded team coming into this regional, but they are still a fantastic team. And you have Denver and Minnesota and Oregon State. I mean, there are a lot of great teams in all the regionals. Obviously, they wouldn't be there if they weren't. But this Athens regional, it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of great competition here. You saw it this afternoon. You're going to see it tonight. Can just tell from the emotion from everybody.
I'm sure for anything else, I mean, it was relief for Denver. I mean, they're watching, they're helpless. Georgia hoping that we might see that 9.875, which would be a tie, which would set everything off. But the 9.9 for sure, which would put them in. And you hit the nail on the head at the beginning of the rotation, Bridget. A step could end up deciding your season. And unfortunately there for Marissa Oakley, that's what happened.
And that's the tough thing about gymnastics. I mean, it's a love. I like to think of gymnastics as a love-hate because, man, those times of victory and success are so amazing and so incredible. And then those times of heartbreak, they make you a stronger individual, don't get me wrong, but it can be really tough. And as a senior, I know Marissa really wanted to go out there and just leave it all out on the floor. And she did an incredible job. I mean, that should not be, don't overlook that. I mean, Georgia did an amazing job today.
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt about that. 196.75, a great score. Denver just a little bit better. Tough to see, obviously, for a senior there that she could come back with the eligibility rules changing, but we'll just have to find out. It's up to each individual athlete whether they want to come back. Some coaches would tell us if there were gymnasts that were thinking about it. Some kept it a little closer to the vest, which you're not surprised about. But we do know that that's the end of the road for Georgia here at home, though that was one heck of an effort. Denver holds on. Minnesota, which was never in doubt, will join them in the regional final as well.
What an afternoon. And
that's
we're
an
just
afternoon.
getting started.
An evening. Florida, the top-ranked team in the country, taking on 16th-ranked Illinois, Central Michigan, and NC State, who got past Western Michigan in the first round yesterday afternoon. We'll have that coming up for you at 7 Eastern right here on the ESPN app. And so we move on to the Morgantown Regional, this one of 4 regionals here in Athens, already California, and there's your first upset. 12th-ranked BYU is done, and Ohio State will move on. We'll find out whether Michigan or UCLA are able to hold serve and advance, along with one of the top seeds in the region, California. Bridget, one is in the books, one session. Can you do another one after what we just saw? Are you going to be with us? Are you going to be okay?
I will be okay. I'm going to, take a glass of water.
We need to regroup, I think, right?
Yes, I will be doing my own sense of regrouping, but, again, we talked about how it's really going to come down to the last routine, and just, wow. I mean, the closeness that Denver and Georgia gave us right out of the gate. I mean, first rotation, you knew it was going to be back and forth. Denver's in second, Georgia's in third. Swap, they flip, and I mean, what a day for Minnesota to come out so hot. And then Denver just, I said it once and I'll say it again. It really comes down to who wants it more. Who is going to take it to that next level.
So it is celebration for the number 8 and number 9 teams in the country, Minnesota with an impressive 197.625, and then Denver inching through with a 196.775. We'll see them tomorrow night. So much fun here in the afternoon session, along with Bridget Sloan. I'm Alex Perlman saying so long. We'll see you right back here for the evening session at 7 Eastern on the ESPN app.